Welcome back everyone, Dan here, and for today's video I want to talk about the McLaren Shadow Project Finals. So if you're into sim racing and for some reason you are living under a rock, if you didn't know, the McLaren Shadow Project Finals and Grand Finals took place last week. And in sim racing esports, that's about the biggest event that we have as of right now. So it's really important. It brings a lot of advertisers in, it brings a lot of money into our community, and it brings a lot of new faces and potential new people sim racing, which is awesome. The more people we get, the bigger the hobby becomes and the more successful we are all. So, you know, things like this are hugely important to me. So it's very important that they get it right. So there's a lot of controversy concerning this last McLaren Shadow because, you know, there's a lot of people that think that they did some things that were not very good, meaning they probably could have left it out, didn't need to be part of the live streams, didn't need to be part of the competition at all. You know, because this is the best of the best, guys. These are supposed to be the best sim racers coming together in one place for the championship of championships in sim racing. That's the way they portray it. So there are a lot of things that, you know, that they've brought into this competition this year that a lot of people don't think are that great. Now, like I said, there's a ton of controversy over this. I'm not going to go into all of it. You can go back and watch these live streams on the McLaren YouTube channel. If you didn't see them, you can go back and check them out. Kind of gather your own thoughts on the topic. But there are a few things that I want to discuss that I think are important enough for me to talk about, and maybe they'll leave these items out next year or the next go around whenever they do this again. So the first thing that I want to talk about happened on the second to last day. It was the Shadow, it was the Project Finals, so not the Grand Finals, but it was the Project Finals, second to last day. And they did some racing on tablets. So to give you a quick backstory on this, guys, these are, like I said, the best of the best, and the course of action that took place here is they were racing with Logitech wheels. They did a couple of races on Logitech wheels. Then they put these guys out in the real world to drive some laps in some real McLarens. Then they come back into the studio and immediately put these guys on tablets to race on tablets. I mean, these are supposedly the best sim racers in the world, and they're putting them on tablets, guys. I mean, I don't know who really thought that was a good idea, but it wasn't in my eyes. Now, I'm not holier than thou. I'm not better than anybody else. Race on racing wheels, race on Logitechs, race on Thrustmasters, race on direct drive wheels. Hell, even race on controllers. There are a lot of people who are extremely fast and extremely talented racing on controllers. And that's an acceptable way of sim racing, in my opinion. But you have to draw the line somewhere. You have to draw the line somewhere when you're trying to put on a professional sim racing competition. And in my eyes, the line is drawn at tablets. There is in no way a comparison of using a tablet to race being anywhere close to driving a car. I mean, there's no, I mean, I don't even know how they were braking. If I had to guess, what they were doing was, it was one of those games where it's 100% throttle all the time, and then you brake when you need to slow down. I don't know that for sure. Like I said, I've never played the game. I never will play the game. But you know, you have to draw the line somewhere, and my opinion was reflected in the view count. These things were live. At the time, there was about 1,400 people watching, and as soon as these guys started racing on the tablets, the comments blew up with people poking jokes, making fun, talking about this being a laughing stock. It went from very positive to very negative in the comment sections immediately, and also the view count went from about 1,300 down to under 1,000 just like that. You know, so you have to, guys, you have to draw the line somewhere, and in my eyes, the tablet is where the line is drawn, and I think they really need to leave that out next time, because it's just not something that needs to be in. You know, one of the main reasons for doing these esports competitions is to drive advertisement into the community, drive new eyes into the community, more money into the community, more people sim racing, because the more people that we have in the community, the better it is for all of us. And put yourself in this person's shoes. We're going to call this person Bob. Let's say Bob has heard about sim racing a time or two, but for the most part, he's always thought of it as this joke that a bunch of old men get together and they have these toy racing wheels, and they have nothing else to do in the evening, so they leave their family at night, they hop online, and they sim race for hours with these toy wheels, and it's just a joke to him, but he has some slight interest in it and he's kind of curious about it. So, well, look at this. There's a live McLaren Shadow Project on YouTube. There's like 1,300 people watching. This is the time Bob is going to go really try to figure out, what is this all about? Is this something that I'm making fun of that I actually may be interested in? So Bob goes and tunes in to the McLaren Shadow, and as soon as he tunes in, guess what? It's a bunch of people racing on tablets. His suspicion is confirmed. It's a laughingstock, it's a joke, it's a bunch of grown men racing around on child's tablet games. Bob will never take another look at sim racing again. Now, that's a very dramatic, very extended kind of portrayal of what's going on here, but I want to get the point across. That's why we need to keep stuff like that out of these big events. If you want to play those games on your own time, that's fine, but McLaren, let's leave that out. Let's leave the tablets out. Use controllers, use wheels, use the legitimate things that people are actually going to use, especially on a competitive level. So the next thing I want to talk about actually happened on the McLaren Shadow Project Grand Finals. Okay, this was the very last day. This was the very dramatized. They were really trying to push this as something really exciting. And what did they end up doing? They ended up having a race with 3 cars. They took the top 3 competitors and raced them by themselves. Now, these 3 guys are extremely fast. They are the best of the best, and there's nothing against them. These guys would kick my ass in any race time after time after time. But no matter who the drivers are, a race of 3 cars is absolutely boring. So that dramatic workup that you were looking for is immediately lost when you put 3 race cars on a very long and straight racetrack. Because after about the first lap, it was no longer a race. It was 3 guys hot lapping on the same track. No one was really even close to each other. And that is simple math that just makes for a very, very boring thing to watch. And just like the day before, while there was thousands of people watching, I witnessed the view count drop very quickly because this dramatized, really worked up race was extremely boring. Now, there are ways around this, guys. I know you wanted to guarantee that one of these 3 drivers was going to win this competition, and you can still do that. Professional racing competitions do this all the time with a point system. You still have all of the drivers in the final race, but because of the point systems, even if one of those drivers comes in halfway down the pack or dead last, they still have enough points to win the competition. This happens all the time, and it makes for a more exciting final race because of the fact that you still have enough drivers for it to be a race. And chances are those guys are fast enough that they're going to be at the front of the pack anyways. That's why they are the best of the best. So no more tablets next year, and no more final epic 3-car races, because there's nothing epic and exciting about a 3-car race. Nothing against the guys racing. Those guys are extremely fast. They're really good at what they do, but it's just boring to watch 3 cars. And the last thing that I want to touch on that I think was a negative about the Shadow project, not a huge deal. And I even checked to make sure maybe I was just not out of the loop on this, but get some commentators that we know who they are. Okay, nothing against those two guys that were commentating. They did a pretty good job. They did the best that they had to work with, especially in those few really bad times where they were trying to convince the audience that what they were doing was correct, even though it wasn't. But, you know, I asked several people if they knew who these guys were, and nobody really knew who they were. You know, you got to have some familiar faces in the community. I mean, I asked myself time and time again, why did they not use Sean Cole from the Sim Pit? I know the answer to that is because he's only got like 140,000 subscribers, and whoever those guys are probably had a lot more subscribers. But Sean knows these guys. You know, he has had interviews with these guys. He's dealt with these guys on a personal level, and he would have been a great person to have as a commentator. I think it would have worked out a lot better. How about Jimmy Broadbent? You know, we go back and forth whether or not he's a true sim racer or whatever, but I think he's as sim as the rest of us. You know, we're just all content creators. But he's definitely a face that much more people would have recognized. I saw Jimmy Broadbent's name in the comments section over and over and over again. Where's Jimmy? Where's Jimmy? Where's Jimmy? Where's my Jimmy? Why not have him? How about him and Sean Cole? They would have been great commentators. They would have been people we knew. Now, at the end of the day, that's not a huge deal, but, you know, those little intricate details matter. And right now, between the two of these events, 5 and 4 days later, I'm looking at the numbers, we've got just under 60,000 total views. I mean, this should be something that had several 100,000 views, 400,000. You know, this should have been a big deal. There was a lot of money put into this, and I think some of these small intricate details may have helped to kind of push it back out of that higher bracket that it could have came in at. So those are just a few things that I wanted to discuss, things that I think really should have been addressed, maybe shouldn't have happened, maybe things that they'll rectify and do a little different next time. But I want to give you really quickly my final thoughts on this. I don't want this to seem like I'm saying that the McLaren Shadow Project is a waste of time and I think it's stupid and it's terrible, because I don't. In fact, it's the exact opposite of that. Things like the McLaren Shadow Project are a huge opportunity, and they're just huge to our community as a whole, because again, it gets eyes that are not familiar with what we do into what we do. So overall, it brings a lot of new faces, it brings fresh talent, and it just generally helps the community. It helps get advertisement. It helps people take it more seriously. And so the McLaren Shadow and these esport events that are continually being added on month by month, year by year. I mean, 2018 was huge for esports. 2019 is going to be even bigger. As these things get added on to the docket, it helps sim racing. So overall, I want these things to continue happening, but we have to understand the importance of how they need to be handled to make sure that we're actually portraying sim racing in the correct manner. And that's the reason why I wanted to make this video. So that's going to be it, guys. Let me know in the comments below, did you watch it? And if you did, what were your thoughts? Did you like the way they handled it, or were there some things that you thought could have been handled better? Like I said, let me know in the comments below, guys. Thanks so much for watching. As always, please click that like button if you enjoyed this video. Click the dislike button if you did not. And I'm going to end this one here, guys. Thanks so much. I'll talk to you in the next video.